Hello and welcome to this video. Questions about D-Day. Well, D-Day, the Normandy landing, the Allied entrance into France, June 6, 1944. So we see a lot about that on movies like Saving Private Ryan, The Longest Day, 1962, and so forth. And I've been thinking about this. Like, I'll just think about stuff, when I have time to myself. If I'm at work or whatever, I'm not being bothered. And I've been thinking about this for years, off and on. And people do ask me about World War II. I'm trying to get away from World War II. I'm tired of hearing about it. But people ask me from time to time, like this and that about that war. I mean, my grandfather was in it, and he didn't talk about it really much. A little bit, but not too much. And I knew other people that were in it. Most of them had passed on, have died. But and we know about the men, they stormed the beaches and that all the high casualty count at Gold, Sword, Juneau, Omaha, Utah Beach, British Commonwealth beaches, Gold, Juneau, and Sword, and Normandy. Utah and Omaha for the Americans, and all of this. But I mean, even with the high casualty count, they had control of it by the end of the day. So, but I wondered some things over the years. So, and my main question today is, why would they drag World War II out until May, June, July, August 1945, when it seems to me they could have ended it in 1943? And this is very curious to me. So let's look at a map, see if I can bring it up. I don't know if it'll work. If it doesn't, let me know. So I was showing a map here. So let's erase all this stuff for now. And then you'll see what I'm talking about. So here's the situation in July 1943. The white area is Axis control, meaning Germany, Germany, Italy, Hungary, Romania, Finland. Finland wasn't really an Axis country. They were just associated. Okay, Romania too, really, and Hungary too, honestly. But gray is neutral. You see Sweden at the top, Spain in the southwest, Switzerland in the middle, Ireland to the northwest, Turkey to the southeast, neutral. Red is Axis Allied controlled territory. In the northeast, you see Soviet controlled territory heading into Ukraine and White Russia. British, the United Kingdom in the northwest, and the South American, British Commonwealth occupied French Africa. And then in the southeast, you see Cyprus, British colony. So can you see that? If I show it, the viewers, can you see it? I guess you can. I'm not seeing any comments otherwise. Okay, so let's go back to the screen, and I'm going to show you why I don't understand why they would want to drag the war out for 2 extra years. You can explain this to me. I can't explain it because I told you I don't understand why. Okay, so let's go back to the screen share, and I'll show you the map. So let's look at a few things. 1941, sorry, 1942, November 42, the Allies go this way from England down out into the Atlantic off the map into the Mediterranean Sea with a big air and sea invasion of Algeria here. And Tunisia, French Tunisia here, which succeeded because the French didn't have a strong military, strong ability to resist. They didn't want to get involved. They had to surrender in 1940. They wanted to stay out of the war, but the British and Americans weren't worried about their desire to remain neutral, so they invaded them anyway. And in which case, Germany invaded the southern part of France to prevent the Allies from, and then Italy invaded Corsica Island to prevent the Allies from invading there. Okay, see? So that's what we got. Now, by July 1943, the Allies had totally kicked the Germans and Italians out of Africa. Okay, so we'll erase that part of it. Whoops, hit the wrong thing. We'll get rid of that. We'll get rid of that, that. Okay. Now, we know what they did through the summer of 1943. We know the Allies left Tunisia. We're talking about the British Commonwealth and Americans. When I say British Commonwealth, I mean United Kingdom plus the British dominions of Canada, South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, India, which was still a colony, but nearly a dominion, self-governing, nearly semi-self-governing. Okay, so, and Newfoundland, which had asked to become a British colony again due to bankruptcy. But anyway, so they come across and land in Sicily, right? And the Allies take over Sicily after some resistance from the Germans and Italians, but they weren't able to stop them. Then by the late summer, they cross into Italy and start driving the Italians and Germans up the boot of Italy, right? Now, so let's say this is not exact, but let's say the front line is here. Okay. The Germans had a strong defensive, strong system of defensive fortifications all along the French coast here, right? The Western Wall. Strong all along here to prevent an Allied invasion of Europe. Not so strong in this part of France because they didn't expect it to happen there. And we know it did not happen there. So some fortifications, and in southern France, even weaker. Right? Now, here's my question. Why would you want to do the D-Day invasion of June 6, 1944 with this massive air and sea invasion right here, and then take on all these casualties trying to punch through the German wall, which they did. And in one day, by the way, I think you know what I'm going to ask next. Let's go back to the big screen for a moment. Anybody want to know what I'm going to ask next? By looking at the map, geography can help you understand wars. Like looking at the Ukraine map, it's kind of a mystery today, right? Let's look at that Ukraine live map. I'm not going to show it. I just want to look at it. Nothing ever changes. Like it never changes. Like the front lines never change. Look like World War One. I'm telling you, the Ukraine map front line look like World War One. It changes a mile every month, either west or east. Crazy. But I'm always checking on it, at least 5 times a week. I try to do it once a day, but sometimes I forget. All right, so hello, Hector. All right, so nobody has a question. Okay, so let's go back to the screen share, and then I'm going to ask you the question. I'm asking you the question. I'm not making any assertions. I'm asking you the question. So here is my question. Why wait a year to go, like I'm pointing up there toward France, when the Allies, who had overwhelming naval, land, and air superiority by 1943 July, why not just, you got a foothold in Italy, right? So why not go here? Launch an amphibious operation here, or even here into Serbia. What's right there? That's Germany. Austria had been annexed, or had actually chosen to join Germany. They like to say invaded, but they chose it. They actually voted. They wanted to be part of Germany. So the German border is here. Look at this thick black line. Right? So they already had partisans, rebels, or whatever you want to call them, in Yugoslavia, giving the Germans a hard time. They'd have been delighted to have the Allies come in and help them. Now you're right there to Germany. I know there's the Alps, but then the Alps don't go this far east, and then you got the Carpathian Mountains, and you can cross them, not too difficult. And you're right to Vienna, capital of Austria. The Czechs are going to help you because they don't want to be part of Germany. And there's Berlin. Okay, here's another option. You got a foothold in Italy. You can bypass Sardinia. You can bypass Corsica. Those are minor. You can bypass Italy itself because, after all, there, we know the Italian military was like a house of cards. You just push them, they fall over. They couldn't stop you. The Germans had poorly defended southern France, as we know from 1944, August 1944, with what was known as the Champagne Campaign, because when they landed there, they mostly were greeted with people carrying bottles of champagne more than German resistance. The casualty count was extremely low. So why not just launch an amphibious operation from, say, Algiers or Tunis? Well, let's just say Algiers. You go here, you land in Marseille or any part of southern France. The Germans were stretched so thin by this time, 1943. Italy, you don't have to worry about them because they don't matter. They only can lose. Now, instead of trying to break through the hard shell a year later, you could break through the soft shell, which is almost like an eggshell. Now you're into France. You're in open fields, which is what you want because of your superiority in weapons and equipment. Now you're rolling through France. You can go into Italy if you'd like. You can make a two-pronged assault. Why not? Hell, go into Yugoslavia, northeast Italy, Venetia, and southern France. Now you can expand your operations. You can go into Paris if you want, or bypass it. You can always go later. So you're really putting the squeeze on them. So meanwhile, while you're doing this, you've got the Soviet Union, your gangster ally. You got to team up with the mass murderer to stop the mass murderer. You know what I mean? Got to team up with, like Jesus said, what they were saying he's using Beelzebub to cast out demons. He said, would a demon join up to cast out his ally, other demons? So now when you've landed here in the west, the south, and the southwest, now the Germans are caught in a real situation. There's no way they can stop them. You're going to have the Yugoslavians rising up on your side, at least the Serbians. You've got the Greeks. Bulgaria is going to drop out. Romania is going to drop out. Hungary is going to drop out. Italy could or could not drop out. What difference does it make? They can't fight. And these guys, whether they want to drop out or not, they finished. You got them. You see what I'm saying? And then it's all just 1943, December 1943. It's over. You don't need all this bombing and destruction and air raids and blasting everybody. So the theory, some people say, oh, they did that because they didn't want to upset Stalin and they wanted him to catch up. Well, that's a ridiculous. Well, I'm saying it's a ridiculous answer. Let's hope that let's hope that that they didn't do it for that reason, because that would impugn the Roosevelt and Churchill even more and make them even more culpable of allied and civilian casualties if they really did go on a slow roll to allow the Soviet Union to catch up, which would make them clearly as criminal as the Axis, who they claim were criminals. You see what I'm saying? So you to drag a war out for 2 extra years to let one of the allies, the most notorious of the allies, Soviet Union, catch up would just be outrageous. So I've always wondered that. Why wait 2 years? Why wait a year to land in Northern Europe here? Sorry, here. When you can land you've got all these options here. Look, it's totally open to you. And you can come around and you land anywhere here and you're almost to Germany, just a few miles. And you got it in the bag. And you don't have to go through all of this drama that we hear about. And you don't need Saving Private Ryan and The Longest Day and all the theatrics, right? It's over in a flash. So you can help me understand this. I can't. So if somebody comes up and says, oh, well, you see, they don't have the logistic ability to do it. Oh, really? Are you serious? So you can go all the way around southwestern Europe, around Spain and Portugal, land in North Africa in 2 countries, Algeria and Tunisia, are 2 French territories, then cross the Mediterranean, land in Sicily, then cross the strait and land in Italy. You can do all that, but you can't just hop across and go into southern France and the Adriatic coast of Yugoslavia. I'm not buying that. That's ridiculous. You don't need to apologize or try to defend these people. I just need you to help explain why this would be done. Okay, so that's the point of the video. I'm just curious. I'm a curious person. I like to read, study, learn. And this is something that's been bothering me for the longest time. So it certainly makes you wonder, makes me wonder. Should make any thinking person wonder. So let's see the comments. Okay, we don't have any. All right, well, anyway, so if you have anything to say, I'd be curious to read it, discuss it. We love to discuss on this channel. So thanks, everybody. And this will be in my history, government, politics playlist. Yes. All right, thank you.